Okay, if everything has gone according to plan, we should be live on YouTube. Hello everyone and welcome to Weekends with Avrona, the final one of 2024 and the last one before, 2025 arrives. That's kind of how it works. Why did I basically said the same thing twice? Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that it's a special one. And while I wanted to kind of talk about, recapping the year and also talking about what we can expect from CES 2025, which is just around the corner. I'm leaving for CES in less than a week's time. That's kind of terrifying to think about, huh? So yeah, I wanted to talk about all of those things, but there's been quite a few additional things popping up from the realm of the Switch 2. A couple of leaks. I don't know exactly how believable a lot of them are, but they do look pretty interesting. So I just kind of wanted to go through them and express my thoughts and general ideas about what this next Switch is going to look like. Which, by the way, I'm genuinely surprised we did not get anything about it until now. But I think I know why. If they're keeping the same kind of release schedule as last time, so maybe around March, then obviously they wouldn't want to promote it before Christmas, because then no one would buy a Switch for Christmas because everyone knows there's a new one coming. This way they're still able to basically trick people into buying a outdated console, but then they just release it in like March or whatever and they get all the sales from that. So that's kind of my reasoning about why we haven't seen it before, because I was pretty certain last time that we're going to get a pretty similar cycle to the release of the original Switch back when it was, just still called the NX, where we had the reveal on the 20th of October, and then I believe the 3rd of March. Was it the 3rd or 13th? It was the 3rd of March. That's when it got the full thing. I remember that day very, very well because I got it on launch day. After my first Nintendo console, which was the Wii U, I kind of fell in love with Nintendo. I really wanted to get my hands on the Switch 2 as soon as possible. So we got a couple of images to kind of go through. The first thing I wanted to really show is just the dock, because if this is real, it's kind of bizarre, but also given how the dock was one of the weaker links of the original Switch, I kind of get it. The Switch OLED version had a couple of improvements, but it still felt very finicky and plasticky, and it just didn't have a kind of... Okay, I wouldn't say the Switch is a premium product, but even for that, the dock felt just like something you'd get from AliExpress for 5 cents. So they're doing a couple of things different. And one of the more interesting things, and what this image right here we're seeing is kind of confirming, is that you're supposed to be getting a lot more performance out of it if it's running via the dock. All you really got by connecting up to the dock was access to TV, but the performance was the same. Even if, technically, by the sheer fact you're connected up to power rather than using a battery, it could probably allow the power profile to be a bit more aggressive. I don't believe the Switch actually took advantage of that here. The situation is going to be a bit different, most likely, for two reasons. One, I could imagine plugging it in, actually providing a much bigger boost. Go away, phone, no one told you to blink. And then secondly, is that it's supposed to have, and this kind of confirms it, active cooling. People are saying that the Switch 2's dock is going to improve performance, and this is how I think it's going to do it, by just providing a much larger fan at the back of it to allow for a much more aggressive turbo boost on the actual, most likely NVIDIA SoC. So I think it's going to work pretty similar to, those laptop stands that have like a big active fan underneath to help with overheating problems. This is what I think it's essentially going to be like. It's just there to move some more air and allow that NVIDIA chip to cool more efficiently. What kind of performance is they gonna equal? We have no idea. I saw some info, correct me if I'm wrong, that it's supposed to be based on Turing, which... Okay, I know developing a console takes a while, but Turing in itself is kind of old at this point, right? It came out in 2020. That's, RTX 2000 series. Granted, anything will be an improvement at this point, given how the original Switch still runs on Maxwell. So that is GTX 900 series, okay? That's how old we're talking here. So anything would be an improvement. And keep in mind, even for that it's just running mobile hardware. It's mobile Tegra hardware intended for NVIDIA Shield. It was never intended to really, even compete with what we usually think of as Maxwell and GTX 900 PC or laptop chips at that. So it is going to be pretty interesting, but there's a couple of other things that kind of I wanted to see. First of all, then there's a logo, which if I go to, yeah, there we go. We've seen this image right here. So this is not official. This is just, as you can see right here, there's a note. It's literally just a fan recreation of what was seen over here. And I know a lot of people are kind of disappointed by it, myself included. I know it makes the most sense in the world to just incrementally name your consoles like that. And even though it makes the most sense in the world, only Sony has been doing that consistently since they entered the console market, but whatever. But I think the reason everyone's disappointed is we expected a bit more from Nintendo. This is the first time there is just this two. There is like nothing special. They're not doing anything different with their branding or marketing. They're just sticking a 2 at the end. Which, again, maybe this isn't final. But it's just kind of weird because we haven't seen it, you know. We went from the NES to the Super NES, right? Or we went from the Wii to the Wii U. Granted, I know that this makes it a lot clearer what this console is. It's just a beefed up, completely backwards compatible Switch. And yeah, especially given how branding was, you know, what's usually discussed as one of the main reasons why the Wii U failed. I get it why Nintendo could be paranoid that the audience is just so dumb they wouldn't be able to understand any other naming scheme. I get it. It's just a bit weird because it's just something we haven't expected from Nintendo. And in general, it is going to be a very interesting product because if we look at even the way it looks, right? This is how it's supposed to look. This is, you can decide a bit where Joy-Con goes. So this, it is a more refined version of the same concept. And that is really something we haven't seen from Nintendo since well, forever. They usually try to do just something a bit different or really experiment with the form factor. But it's been so long since something was just a better iteration of the last product without any major new gimmicks or anything. Again, we don't know. Maybe there will be some new gimmick. Obviously, the magnetic Joy-Cons. Those are going to be very, very interesting. And I feel like the Joy-Con mechanism, the rails were kind of very satisfying. I know they had some problems, especially the earliest gen ones. I know because I bought my day one, so one of my Joy-Cons has the weird thing where it just kind of pops out on its own without even me pressing out on the release latch. But we'll see if that solves it or not. I don't think the Joy-Cons themselves are going to be too different. Do I really not have it? Oh, I do have it here. Yeah, so these are kind of the renderings we've seen as well of what it's going to look like. So it looks very much identical. So more cooling at the bottom, which I don't believe was there. They're using the same design for the stand itself as the Switch OLED, which looks fine. I haven't used the Switch OLED myself, and I don't even use my Switch as a handheld. I was just connected up to my TV because why would I want to play on this tiny screen, especially how awful it was on the Switch One, where I could just play on a regular TV. But hopefully the screen itself is going to be a bit better as well. It is going to be weird if they don't go at least OLED after getting people used to it, unless they spin off a separate OLED model. Is it going to stick at 720p? Again, it's hard to guess any of that because we have no idea what the performance will be like. I've seen some people saying it's going to be like the PS4 Pro or basically kind of along those lines. Again, it's very, very difficult to tell. It is still a handheld. It is still going to be more on the budget side, probably. It is extremely difficult to make any kind of predictions right now. But it is looking exciting. And then there's the question of, oh man, am I going to be getting this thing? That's the other big question. I feel like I kind of have to just my job. I don't think if I would do a review on it, console content has never really done too well on the channel. Whenever I covered, you know, console news or the Xbox, the PlayStation, or I really haven't covered too much Switch anything. Well, apart from these live streams, I know it's kind of weird to be saying that, but I haven't covered too much Switch anything in just regular videos. But do I want to get it? That's the question. I haven't touched my actual Switch in a couple of years now. The last time I played it was when Pikmin 3 came out. I played some Pikmin 3. I haven't finished it. It's a good game. I should probably come around to finishing it. But at the same time, I don't want to touch it because of just the way the Switch is. I'm the kind of person who really likes to maximize the way they play a game. You know, for example, I like playing a lot of retro stuff. I have, you know, my PS2 and my GameCube and my Xbox 360 right there, and I always, when I see a cool game I haven't heard of, want to play for one of the systems when I'm, you know, out and about hunting for old games, I always look, oh, which platform is the best one to get it from? If it's available on, say, a PS2, but also on the original Xbox, well, I get it for that, because it's just going to look a lot better. And also, in general, I always try to leave games until I can enjoy them in the best way possible. When Phantom Liberty came out, for example, I was building not my next PC, I was upgrading my current PC to have my RTX 4080 from my ARC A770. That's a huge jump, obviously. So even though I really, really, really wanted to play Phantom Liberty because I love Cyberpunk so much, I waited for a while after I got it on launch day, just so I could experience it, you know, maxed out everything on my 4080. And I think it's going to be the same with this. I'm holding off on finishing stuff like Pikmin 3 or really doing anything else on my Switch, because I know if I just wait a few months longer, I could enjoy it in just much higher quality, a much better experience. It could even, you know, potentially maybe even on the go, who knows. And that is what's kind of been stopping me from playing, and also the fact I've been super busy. So hopefully the Switch 2 will be enough to kind of make you wanna do that, but it also depends on the games. I'm not the biggest Nintendo fan, and a lot of the kind of main franchises, like I don't think, have I played like a mainline Mario game ever? I played Mario Maker, I got Mario Maker, but I didn't play too much of it, and that's about it. Zelda's pretty decent, but I haven't even played the Breath of the Wild sequel. I love Breath of the Wild, but I haven't even bothered to play the sequel. So yeah, it really depends. Star Fox is one that's been really strangely absent from the whole Switch lifespan. So who knows where that is at? If we're going to be getting, you know, a Star Fox maybe closer to launch. The only games I can really imagine myself really wanting is Wind Waker port for the Switch and Eternal Darkness 2, which, let's be honest, that's never going to happen. Which is a shame, because Eternal Darkness is amazing, and that game is still just trapped on the GameCube. So yeah, maybe Eternal Darkness 2, maybe just a port of Eternal Darkness to something that isn't the GameCube, and where they're not charging you upwards of like £50 on eBay for a copy of that game. So yeah, I think those are kind of my general thoughts. I kind of rambled for most of this. How long have I been live streaming for, by the way? I can kind of feel my voice going, that's bad. Not long, but again, I don't really have too much else to say. It's just been kind of CS prep season for me so far, and that's what I've been kind of focusing on. So I just wanted to kind of a short show, talk about some of the leaks, some of my expectations for the console. It was a pretty crazy year in general then. I know I wanted to say, I know I wanted to make this show about CES, but I'll be making separate videos about my expectations for CES, especially now that Intel have revealed that they are in fact doing a presentation on the 6th, I believe. So it is going to be a very interesting time. And I think that's about it for the final WWA of the year. Hopefully you enjoyed this year. I hope you had a great Christmas, and well, I guess I'll see you on the other side in 2025, whatever that will bring. And seeing the track record of the last couple of years, probably nothing good. So I hope you enjoyed this live stream. If you did, then remember to subscribe, like, whatever, and I'll see you all in whatever I make next. Goodbye everyone. Goodbye.